We are live. Hello, everybody. There's always just a little bit of a delay in the beginning that I didn't catch, but hopefully I did it right that time. We are live today talking to Robin at Robin Gardens and Healy.
Hi.
Let's bring her up.
Hi, how you
Healy
doing?
B. Hi. How's everybody doing? How's your weather? First of all, I'd like to get that out of the way. Who wants to start?
Oh,
I'll
my
s-
weather.
go
My
ahead. Yeah.
weather is slight snow flurries and very chilly. I'll be putting a tarp over my zipper greenhouse right after this live.
Oh wow. Well, it's sunny and 72 here
I thought so.
in in Southern California. I have already been outside working in my backyard shenanigans garden. I'm doing more with my fruit trees than I am with my, fruits and vegetables and herbs. I still have not sown one seed.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's already April 7th, and I have not sown one seed. I'm getting to it though.
All right.
But the
Well, you
weather,
got
the
the whole
weather
month.
here is, yeah, the weather here is not holding me back.
Well, I also have another bleary, gloomy out there. And last night I was out till late for me, which is 7 o'clock, which isn't late for anybody else. But I had kids to put to bed and feed. I didn't feed the kids.
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta get these seeds because the rest of the week is garbage. So yeah, it's not pleasant out there. So I'm holding off on putting out stuff. So for today, we're just gonna pretty much start from the smallest to the biggest of tasks, I guess. Go through what we're planning on planting
Hmm.
at least in April, and
Yeah.
uh, and then if we can sprinkle in tips and tricks along the way. We have I'm in New York, Robin's in Ohio, and Healy's in California, so we have a
Hmm.
nice variety going on here.
Actually,
Yes.
Illinois.
So let me start since it's my life. So for indoors, I have been up potting. My peppers, I had failed them because I kept it cool. Like I didn't turn on the heater till very recently. So I
Hmm.
really set back quite a bit. And at the same time, I was giving them like low dosage feed, but still feed. But they weren't doing
Hmm.
any of that feed because of the other conditions. So they were super stunted. And I started upping them and they're starting to recover, but I really have set myself back on the peppers this year. But I know they'll catch, but it's still, brings back that I did that to them.
Yeah. Hmm.
And then as far as new seeds that I was outside yesterday, like a mad woman trying to get in, let me just list them off. And they're obviously cold tolerant greens. And these were the ones that I hadn't already started back in February or early March. So I put
Hmm.
in la 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 la, Mizuna, my tatsoi pack of bok choy, my radish, my sorrel, my Swiss chard, my turnip, my spinach, and a few other things that I don't have on this list. But you'll see that in another video. So
Hmm.
that's the video that's coming out eventually. So those were the plans, at least I've got going on at the part of April, and then we'll sprinkle in or succession, which I'm terrible at. I don't succession very good, but I will make an attempt this month to succession. How about you guys? What seedlings are you working on? Trees.
I'm gonna let Robin go because you already know my story, but I have an explanation. So, Robin, let us know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, I have onions and shallots going, and I'm looking at them right here. Celeriac, couple kinds of celery,
Hmm.
peppers, all kinds. I started my tomatoes, and most of them are, showing their little cotyledons. Um, oh, I've got some lettuce over there and flowers.
Mm.
A lot of marigolds because that's step two in the root knot nematode battle that
Right.
I'm
Hmm.
fighting here. Um, I can show one show and tell. I was just talking to Joy, so I know better, but I've overloved these. See how they're getting a little yellow? the peppers that I up potted. I
Hmm.
overloved them. I've given them too much fertilizer. So my job today is take them out of this soil, get some of the fertility out, and they'll perk back up. But as far as outside, kind of the same thing you've got going, Joy. I've got a few kinds of spinach, mizuna, um, leeks, and the garlics that I did for the first time last year. They're up. Um, they're all winter sown. You know, I cut the bottom off of the jugs, whatever jugs I have going. I put a couple of holes in them on either side and staple them down. And then those are my little mini greenhouses right on the earth. And I love this method. So if anybody wants to try this, go for it, because you know what? You don't have to transplant it. It's right there. You've planted it right where it's going to stay. It's awesome. So how about you, Healy? What you
So
gonna
I will step in and say, as I mentioned, I have not, sown a seed for 2025. Well, let's say spring 2025. The new 2025, not 2024 carry over to 2025, because I have some of those things. Currently I have elephant garlic that is going very well, but the black aphids are everywhere. They are all over the greens of the elephant garlic, and I don't like to spray anything in my garden except water. So I have hosed them down and hosed them down. It doesn't really do anything, but I hose them down. I also have tomatoes and eggplant from last year that have carried over, and I have 6 mini raised beds. If you've ever watched any of my backyard shenanigans garden videos, you'll see that I made 6 mini raised beds. And the three on the right side, I had a volunteer tomato that is at least 7 or 8 feet long. It is wrapped around everything it could wrap around, growing still tomatoes. That was a volunteer from, I think, last October or November, and I kind of just left it. I was going to take it out. I was going to take it out, and now I can't even see where to take it out. Um, Skip a raised bed, and then the one behind it, I planted two types of tomatoes, beefsteak and cherry tomato. I got so many tomatoes off of those plants. And again, I was going to take them out, and I was going to take them out, and I was going to take them out. And now they have rejuvenated themselves, and they are like the most perfect green and growing. And I have more tomatoes.
Nice.
I looked in the middle raised bed yesterday, and lo and behold, there's another tomato plant that I did not plant. This time, though, like for real, I am going to take that smaller tomato. I'm gonna put it in a pot and just set it off to the side, somewhere. For real, I am. I'm gonna do it. And then, as far as the elephant garlic, I think, if I can let them hold until May. I usually don't take them out until June, but because the black aphids are so bad, I think I'm going to take them out in May, and whatever size they are, small, medium, large, whatever size they are, I'm still going to, take care of them. I'm still going to eat them. I'm still going to use them.
Yeah.
Mostly, I've been dealing with my fruit trees though. Just yesterday, I did grafting on my Fuji apple tree, and I grafted on 4 different type of apples. And let's see, so Dorset Golden, Golden Delicious, Pink Lady, and Anna. So I'm hoping to see, something. I just did it yesterday, so you're supposed to check in about 3 weeks, and if you don't see anything, you can hold it up to another 3 weeks. But normally, if you don't see anything after like 4 or 5 weeks, they say the graft didn't take. And that's okay, because I still have many branches, and I'll have Fuji apples this year. But yeah, I've been into the real fruit tree thing. I bought another cherry tree. So now I have all 3 royal cherry trees. I have the mini royal, the royal lee, and just now the royal crimson. And then I bought another blueberry bush. So it's been bushes and fruit trees and like leftover stuff, but I'm gonna make my soil mix, my seed starting mix today. I have everything laid out except for the perlite. I have pumice, and I was gonna use the pumice, but I think it might just be a little bit too heavy. So actually, after this live stream, I'm gonna go get some pumice. Everything else is already mixed. I just need to add the pumice, and then I'll probably do a live stream of that seed sowing. So that's what I'm doing for April.
Haley, have you ever tried planting calendula and putting it near the vulnerable plants? Because what I find is that it's my best trap crop for the black aphids.
I'm gonna have to try that. I had calendula in separate like little small containers, little small pots, but just around the garden. I'm still trying to get into the flower thing. I used to do flowers like a long time ago and I kind of stopped doing it. I have calendula seeds. When I go to the nursery today, I'm gonna see if they already have some flowers and I will pick those up and I can put them around where the elephant garlic is and see if that'll work. Thank you though. I appreciate that. Calendula. I'll try it out.
It's a great crop, and then I just cut the blooms that they're going for off and send it
Hmm.
to the landfill.
Well, I might need to try that because last year, I believe it was last year was my first year even seeing black aphids at all. And a matter of fact, they were on the elephant garlic. And I had never seen any aphids on alliums before. But I learned black aphids like alliums. So I'm gonna try that calendula flowers. Thank you.
Yeah, and they're pretty too.
So to
Hmm.
Cece's question, do you have your garlic close together? Like, do you find that that's a problem?
Um, I don't think so because last year I did not have as much garlic as I do this year. I have them pretty packed in this year, but last year I didn't. And I think I had more black aphids last year with less garlic than I do this year with more garlic.
Okay.
So I don't know. Um I don't see a difference. But I'll pay more attention to that. So the garlic is about mm, they're probably between 2 and 5 inches apart. Maybe like between 3 and 5 inches apart because I got more bulbs than what I was expecting. And so of course, after I had them equally spaced out, I had the other ones. So I just kind of placed them in between, tried to like, 5 domino them to just, because I waste not, want not. But we'll see. The only thing that doesn't like absolutely bother me about the aphids is that they usually come on towards the end, maybe like the last 2 months,
Okay.
of the growing. And I mean, you can say that that's a critical time, but by that time, I at least have some size to the bulb.
Right.
I don't need to have, orange size elephant garlic. I don't need that. As long as it's enough for me to put in my pot or my pan, I'm good.
Yeah.
So is there a right time to graft apple or trees in general? Is like now springtime?
Yeah, so it does, and I'm learning this also. It does depend on the specific tree, but most trees you want to do them either in early spring or you can graft in the late fall. You want to try to graft them after they fruit and before they wake up.
Right.
So I'm kind of late. I'm late because usually for apples, those are done in February and March. And here it is April, but I just went to that Scion exchange.
Yeah.
What was that, Saturday? So I had to wait, and all of those
Right.
Scions were free. And normally some Scions, they charge you by the bud, by the bud, not by the stick, not by the Scion. They charge you by the bud on the Scion. And each Scion has like between 3 and 6 buds.
Mhm.
So, that was a real deal. I mean, and I've grafted 2 of each variety. So I have 8 grafts on the tree. If one graft makes it, if one of 8 make it, it's a win.
Yeah.
So,
Very cool. Speaking of alliums, like my garlic, in the last, I'd say, yeah, 2 years now, I've had a little bit of the allium leaf miner, which
mm,
I haven't figured out what exactly to do with other than netting
Netting.
area. But I don't know if there's soil, actual like soil, like they stay in the soil and then they just crawl up. No, I think they're flyers. No, they are flyers. So yeah, I would have to net the area, the garlic area, and
It has to be that really fine stuff too.
right,
like tulle.
yeah,
That's what I use, tulle
or
fabric. I use tulle. That's real.
So,
Yeah, you're not getting in between there.
yeah,
or what Agribond?
yeah, something like that.
I think the Agribond holds up a little better to the UV over the
Yes,
years
for
too.
us,
Mhm.
the tool doesn't last a season with the cold and the hot. I wish it did.
Oh yeah. See, yeah, you're right.
Well, I had to learn that the hard way. I bought so much rules of it, and then like the next season, the wet and the cold just like tore it up to pieces. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, it is a good option for a lot of people. Cheap.
So Healy, I watched your video on the blueberries
Oh, yeah.
and that you potted them up with the acidic soil. I did that
Yes.
last year, and wow, did I get them to turn around? They are really, really full of blooms. I made the mistake of throwing them into my garage, so now I have to harden them off and get them back outside again. I should have
Uh-huh.
left them outside, but they are doing really, really well. Plus, I really upped the game, not only with the acidic soil like you did,
Hmm.
I added some liquid acid as well, about 4 times last year. So, um,
Now, first of all, what varieties of blueberries do you have? And then what type of acidic liquid do you use? Because I mean, I'm an economical gardener. I use white vinegar and water. That's a solution that I use once a week. While the soil acidifier and the acid soil mix and the fir bark, while that stuff is breaking down and slowly, very slowly over time, lowering the pH, the white vinegar and water, kind of helps to speed up the process or helps in the interim. The thing is you have to do it weekly, which I mean, I don't mind. I'm in the garden almost every day, so once a week that's okay.
I've not tried that, so I really couldn't speak to that. And this is the first year that I put them, out of the ground and put them, into pots.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's an organic liquid feed, and I don't have it up here, so I can't remember
Uh-huh.
the name of it. But I mean, it really turned them around. As far as the types, I noticed you had pink lemonade. That's my favorite. Oh
Yeah.
gosh, that is so delicious. It's just weird though, because you got to like squeeze them to know if they're ripe or not, because
Mm-hmm.
the color. Um, I mean, all of them are cold hardy for here. We're zone 5B. So I'm even
Mm-hmm.
a little colder than Joy is. I'm near Chicago.
Oh wow, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so I really can't speak to it, but I mean, I turned those bushes around. I mean, they are so healthy now. Uh, I've got probably in total still in in a raised bed, plus the other, I have at least ten of them.
Oh wow. See, and I'm trying to work my way up. Everything that I do though, I have to grow in pots. And for us, so our soil is in like almost all of California, but certainly Southern California, it is the most alkaline of alkaline. You cannot grow blueberries in the ground unless you dig a hole the size of your yard and amend it with, every soil acidifying amendment possible. So the blueberries will be in pots. But last year when I got that first pink lemonade blueberry, the soil was not acidic enough. I did have an acid mixture, but it wasn't enough. So this year I replaced the pink lemonade. I just replaced the Bountiful Blue because that one did die also. By the time I did repot it with acidic soil, it was too late. And then I got the Sharp Blue. Now, of the three of those, the pink lemonade is the one that I'm most concerned about because it is not made for our grow zone
Yeah.
here. It is not, it is not, but I talked to the person at the nursery and they said, in my area, several people have had success with the pink lemonade. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna try it. In the nursery that I buy my plants and trees and stuff from, they have a lifetime warranty.
Mhm.
So if it dies, I can bring it back. I had my Royal Lee cherry tree that was in a pot. I bought it 2.5 years ago, and I replaced that one last month. And I just brought it was either February or March. I just brought the dead the dead branches in the tree, and they looked at it. They looked in the system. Oh, yep, you did. You purchased it here in like 2022, and yep, here's your brand new tree. So,
That's
um,
amazing because most really good nurseries here, it's 1 year.
mm-hmm.
So
Now
life
there,
is amazing.
you're right, and I didn't think. I was think when they say lifetime, because some people say lifetime, but it's like limited lifetime, as in like 6 months to a year. I mean, I've went to nurseries where as soon as you take the plant off the property, that's it. I found that out the hard way. With a cherry tree that I purchased from another nursery. Actually, my mini royal that I have in the ground, it's a beautiful. I'm looking at it right now. So I purchased that and my first royal leaf from that same nursery. Well, the royal leaf didn't make it. And I was like, hey, the tree didn't make it. I mean, I'm thinking like store credit, some discount toward the purchase of another. He was like, nope. As soon as you took the tree off the lot, that was it. No, 0 1, not even 1 day, not 1 minute.
Oh,
So yeah,
is that a sweet cherry, the royal?
yes, they are both sweet cherries. Mm-hmm.
I have
Yeah.
two cherry trees. I have a tartan and a North Star. They're both tart cherries.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I've tried like the Montmorency and a couple other in the past, and here the sweet ones just they don't make it.
They don't, yeah. And see, we have the royal family is known for their low chill hours. That's why I have these. But the majority of the cherry varieties we cannot grow because it just doesn't get cold enough.
Okay.
And I even see like in our warmer, even warmer or even milder than the regular mild winters that we have, that next spring and next fruiting season for my cherry tree, even though it's probably about 17 or 18 feet tall now, and blossoms and all that kind of stuff, but I can see like the limited fruit output just because the winter wasn't cold enough. The tree is perfectly healthy, nothing is wrong, but it just didn't get cold enough. So,
Mm.
Joy, do you have fruit trees? Because me and Robin, we getting it all with these fruit trees. You have, come on, jump in there. What you have?
Well, going back to the blueberries, I just did this weekend. I did do a mix with the peat moss, and I had some
Mm-hmm.
like extra compost in a batch poop compost from somebody else's, like a freebie thing. And
Yeah.
then what was the other thing? Oh, compound for the acid, more
Yeah.
acid. But I'm gonna try. I'm going to be trying to do that liquid, acid you're talking about? What's your ratio for the vinegar and water?
So for the vinegar and water, it depends on the size of the plant or the size of the container, but it's about 2 to 3 tablespoons of white vinegar to a gallon and a half of water. So just, it's just a little, bit. And I would say after you kind of notice something after like the first 3 weeks. So the first application, you might not notice,
Yeah.
like too much. But after 3 applications, you tend to notice. So what I have done in times past, not just now, I would do like 3 weeks of application and then give it a rest for
Oh.
1 week and then 3 weeks of application, because that way I can also see um like the soil, the acid amendments, like the soil acidifier and all that.
Yeah.
I'm also giving that a chance to, like break down and get into the soil too,
Right.
because I use an acid lovers mix.
Mhm.
I put the soil acidifier. I used fir bark because I couldn't find
The pine.
the pine.
Mhm.
Of course, I found it after the fact, but the fir bark bag is open, so we're gonna use that until it's empty. So I used, 2 or 3, maybe 4 different things to help the soil acidify.
Mhm.
And but those take time to break down. So I'm doing the liquid like in between, but I don't want the pH to end up, dropping to like 3. Like I don't need it that low. So
Right.
I do the liquid application once a week for 3 weeks, give it a week break, assess, and then I'll do it for a few more weeks at a time. And David Corey, I have been typing the answer to your question about what fertilizer I use for blueberry plants for like the past 5 minutes. I promise. I'm still typing. It's coming. It's not a long explanation. There's not a lot of things, but I'm trying to, like be engaged with the talking in the chat. But it's coming. I'm typing it right now.
I have used the holly tone like you put in, Joy, and I've used the
Mhm.
soil acidifier from Espoma like you are trying right now, Healy.
Mhm.
And I put that in my pot mix too, but it's not enough, you
Mhm.
know. So I'm going to probably have to lift all of those out of that bed and get them in a pot. And
Are they in like a giant raised bed? Are they or ground or how are they
they're
situated?
in a raised bed that
Okay.
was built so that I had the netting from the birds and
Yeah.
everything over it.
Mhm.
But I just can't get the soil acid enough in there.
And plus, we get a lot more rain, I think, than the part of California.
Oh, see, yeah. We definitely do not get a lot of rain at all. As a matter of fact, April, we may get a few rain events in April, but it won't rain again until about November.
Mhm.
Uh, unless unless if we get a storm off the Mexican coast and it comes up north far enough, we may get a shower like in the June, July time frame, but it will literally not rain, from like April, May time frame all the way until November. There's
Okay.
just no, maybe October 31st, you might get a sprinkle, but
That's
that's
crazy. Joy, do
I
you
know.
have do you have standing water? I mean, I have standing water out in
Oh,
the
yeah.
parts of the yard. I
Oh,
mean,
for sure.
the boots
we
go on as soon as I hit the door, you know.
yeah,
The
yeah.
dog makes himself little
We
puddles to drink out of. He just like, this is good. He's like, "Yum, yum, yum." There's water everywhere.
No, you definitely have to, just become a master at managing, your water, because
Yeah.
the water bill can be high. It can get really high in the summer, but I do pretty well. I try when it does rain to collect small amounts of water, because there's actually rules and regulations about
Oh, yeah.
even collecting rainwater here in California, which I'm from the South, so I live in California, but I'm from Louisiana, and I had never heard that you could
Right.
actually be regulated, you know, into collecting rainwater.
Mhm.
But I'm not gonna go there though. But You know, I mean, but yeah, we make do. We make do. Yeah, we make do.
Right. See, blueberries is like a hot topic. Like anytime anybody posts about blueberries, it's popular.
Hmm.
But
Challenging. It's challenging here. Yeah.
so other things that I'm going to be putting out as the weeks go by, not this week, definitely not. Like in the next week, definitely putting out my onions. They are ready. The bed is packed. I just got to get out there on a nice day. I've got celery, artichokes, my brassicas, and then my winter sowing jugs are for life. I'm not putting them out yet, but I'm just checking on them to make sure they actually made it. So they are showing life. So I'm super excited that the winter sowing jugs are working out. What you would call it?
Aren't they fun because they're the easy button, right? Set it and forget it.
But
Really?
it's nerve-wracking. It's like, I didn't do anything. What if the seeds were bad? Should I start over? All these questions that I can't answer. But what was it? Oh, what planting things at the moment? What other projects, gardening, Friday, are you doing? Like building 1,000,000 birdies beds for Robin?
Yeah. Seven birdies beds. Epic
wow.
Gardening had their big sale at Black Friday, and my husband wanted to replace the cinder block bed that we've had for 20 something years. And so we went Birdie's bed, and I went with the 29-inch, so don't have to do a lot of bending.
Right.
But those 6-footers have 100 nuts and bolts.
Oh, wow.
So we were at that for days. But we got it done. And I hired the little guy next door to us that has a little landscaping business.
Oh.
And then he got his little brother involved too. And they almost finished the project yesterday. Just now the last of the finesse stuff has to happen.
Yeah.
But that's exciting, a change.
That's a lot of bill.
And I don't think I wouldn't have done it if Epic didn't have the 40% off sale, But I'd watched those Birdie's beds for years. There's a company from Australia, and they have a great track record. Not that some of the other knockoff ones of the Birdies aren't good, but I really wanted to go with the one that has the track record, because some of those knockoffs, kind of have some bad raps. I never hear bad reviews on a Birdies. So if I want to invest, I want to invest once.
True.
Kind of thing.
I've only got Birdies so far, but the price is everybody else, so it's like I'm just gonna stick with what I have. But Vijayga, there's a bajillion different brands being shilled out by all influencers. So
a lot of people, yeah.
The Vijayga is they seem to have a lot of cool add-on things.
Yeah,
the brass
oh my
God, already built. The lights that fit into the the grooves.
They do
accessories.
They do. I don't have any manufactured beds. The beds I have are ones I made myself with those cornerstone, like those corner blocks, and just like the wood panels, the wood, just cut them. And I like it because I can make them and shape them to fit like the specific areas of my yard and of my garden. And I kind of extend the life of them by lining the inside with the black garbage bag. I mean, because it is untreated wood, and I mean, you're watering it, and the soil and all of that kind of stuff will definitely degrade the wood. but I put black garbage bags along the walls. Now, on the raised beds that I have on my yellow pallets, I line the bottom with landscaping fabric so that it still allows the water to go through. I can still get air and circulation from the bottom. And then my large raised bed that I have here, um, I have landscaping fabric there, but that one, goes straight to the ground. It goes straight down to the ground. That one is about 2 feet high. And then the mini raised beds that I have, they are 12 inches. They're about a foot high.
Mm.
But I said if I ever replace those mini raised beds, that I would get birdies. And instead of having 6 individual ones, which I prefer, I like to have separate areas. It's good for harvesting. If I have to like switch out stuff, I don't have to kind of fight through
Mhm.
a lot of other things that may be in the bed because the bed is smaller, and then I can focus on what I want in there. But if I ever do replace those 6, it'll probably be 2 or 3 larger birdie beds that I will put in that place. But I'm a DIY person. Like, I like making things. So I don't know. I don't know. But if I was ever to get, the raised beds like that, it would be the birdies. Hmm.
But filling up these beds, how are you? Like I've been in my spare time sifting. Like I got some like compost that needs to be sifted. I've got like topsoil that I got from someone a long time with just growing weeds that I'm going through slowly but surely. The dog's helping me with that too. So I've been like taking
Yeah,
my 5-gallon buckets. I sift a little bit. I get somewhere. I sift some. But yeah, it takes a lot of effort to get like your soil, mix them up, and put your amendment.
it does. But you know what though? I will say this. I am so thankful because I spent like weeks sifting soil. I have like trash cans full of compost that I got from our county landfill and from soil that I have, sifted and resifted, amended, sifted. But I'm so thankful that I have that soil on hand in my yard because the prices for everything, is like skyrocketing to the roof. I mean, I'm telling you, these companies and stuff, they're smart. They're seeing that more people are either beginning gardening or becoming more serious about gardening. They see the products flying off the shelves, and they are definitely like raising the prices and stuff. So I have a lot of stuff, soil and amendments and things, but I'm glad that I have it on hand because even now, like I said, I'm going to buy a 4 cubic foot bag of perlite.
Mm,
The cheapest that I've been able to find it in store where I can pick it up is
that's nice.
$35.
Yeah.
But that's at a plant nursery. Home Depot is more than that.
Mhm.
Lowe's is more than that. And if you get the large, like the 4 cubic foot bags, even some, no, they have the 2 cubic foot in store, but the 4 cubic foot bags, you have to order them and either have them shipped to your house or shipped to the store.
Right.
Um, yeah,
35 35 is a good price, Haley.
Yeah.
It's a good
that's what I was thinking because the last time I bought it, it was almost 50.
Yeah,
It was
that's what I
almost
paid.
$50 for 4 cubic feet. And I think Home Depot, it was 56,
yeah.
$56 for 4 cubic feet. So
Right.
It was 40 the
yeah.
last time, maybe 3 years ago. It was 40 here.
Hmm.
That's a good price. Yeah. I
I
th-
should buy two then.
you
Maybe I
know,
should buy.
the UK garden channels have talked about the quality of their compost, and repetitively since they've gone to the peat free, how disappointing the quality is and so much junk in it.
Mm.
And I honestly haven't seen that. I haven't seen the junk in the stuff that we buy. Well, guess what? Rude awakening this year. I have had a lot of bags of junk,
Mm.
and I bought a kind of expensive one, organic, and I'd say it's like 50% wood, and not little bitty wood, but big wood. Oh, was I disappointed.
Yeah.
Robin,
Right.
you are telling the truth on that. I had been getting, the Kellogg's garden soil, the red, black, and white
Yep.
bag.
Mhm.
I had been getting that for years and it was good. I mean, of course, you would find a few pieces of wood, but it was mostly soil. Like the bag says, garden soil. It doesn't say garden wood. It doesn't say, garden forest. It says garden soil. But I think 2023, maybe even the end of 2022. And I did a video on it. I was so mad. But I sifted the bag and it was 50 to 65%. I had wood, I had glass, I had four different kind of plastics, I had plant tags, I had a piece of metal, I had screws. I
Oh my God.
mean, all yes, yes, yes. Which is why now when I do store bought, things like I put gloves on because I'm used
Mhm.
to, just my hands, because I have to feel it. I have, it's therapy for me. But I can't the store bought products a lot, I have to protect myself because who knows. I haven't found any money in the bags though. I haven't found that. But you're right though. These bags, whatever they're labeled, you're probably getting about half of that. And the larger the bag seems to be like the more the trash because the garden saw bags, I think that was 3 cubic feet. And at least 1.5 cubic feet was trash. But what I did was I sifted that out and I put that towards the bottom and
Ah,
hopefully eventually it'll break down. I don't want to throw it away. I don't want to waste it because I
yeah.
paid for it. But it's ridiculous. We have to be careful.
Yep.
I found the same with like black cow, the manure stuff. It's supposed to be manure. It shouldn't have like a bunch of rocks is all I'm getting half the time.
Wow.
Even the worm casting has a bunch of rocks. I'm collecting the rocks because I'm like, I wonder how much is weight compared to the rest of the bag, But yeah, it's like ridiculous how much garbage. Exactly what you said. It's in these products now. It's a shame, a darn shame.
Yeah, you're paying for, stuff. I mean, I compost. I have a geo
Mm-hmm.
bin but it probably produces maybe 3/4 of a yard of compost at the end of, 1 year cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And
Do
that's
you
It's not
oh,
enough.
go ahead.
no,
That's
I
what
was just gonna say, do you have things growing out of your compost bin? I have a compost bin. Last year or 2 years ago, we had tomatoes. Last year it was parsley. I harvested that parsley too. If you seen it in my videos where I show it, I mean it had got massive. So we, cut that up. There's still a little bit back there, but I mean you can only have so much parsley. And I put it in my dehydrator, and grind it up and put it in my spice jar. But that's how I know I have good compost because I mean if it supported, all of that part, I mean like a bushel of parsley
uh-huh.
and like a 6 foot tall tomato plant. So this is good. It's good. And what I try to do is remember to take like a couple of scoops out and then add it into my container mixes for the microbes and all
Yeah.
of that.
I don't have things growing out of it though, but Healy, I have one of those corkscrew turning
Oh yeah.
tools. And
Uh-huh.
so I make a point of either Al or I going out there and turning it because
Mm-hmm.
it break down faster. I mean,
Yeah.
we fill that thing to the top and then it goes down fast. We fill it to the top, it goes down fast by, doing the corkscrew.
Yeah. And see, I'm doing lazy. I'm doing a no turn.
Uh-huh.
I'm doing a no turn, and probably because but the container has like the slots and stuff for the air and everything because that's where all of the tomatoes and the parsley and whatever else we had growing in there, that's where they're coming out of,
Coming
like
out.
the air, yeah, like
Right.
the air slots and stuff. But the space that I have to put my compost bin, it's not large enough now even for me to have like two bins side by side to try to, turn it, take, put it in one and then put the one in the other. I would really like to have you know how you see people build like those three bin like wooden compost piles where they can, stack one, process, and then the finished. I would like to have that, but I don't have the space. But we compost, and well, we have to, it's the law.
Ah.
um but the extra that I can't put in my compost bin, we do have green trash cans. And so all of your lawn and landscaping stuff and your food waste goes in that can. And I'm telling you, I hate to put my food scraps and stuff in that can. But I know that it's going to the landfill. They do compost at the landfill, and like 2 or 3 times a year, we can go to the landfill and get free compost. So I kind of feel like I'm getting back what I give. But I even sift that because um what the lady told us there, I mean, and I can't argue with her. She says we process what the residents provide. And when they don't separate, if you put a plastic bag, in the green bin, they're dumping these, tons of stuff at a time. But I did a field trip. Well, like a tour of the landfill, and there were workers literally picking plastic, glass, all of the things that don't belong in the compost. 8-hour shifts, literally just picking what doesn't belong out of the compost bin. And it made me angry. I know I'm going off on a tangent a little bit, but it made me angry because I was thinking, how simple is it? It's food scraps, grass, branches, like not plastic, not glass, not rubber bands, not, and it just, so I mean, we can do better. We can do better. But because of that, I also sift that compost.
Yeah.
So
Joy, you've got kind of a sweet compost thing going now. You
yeah.
you really worked on
Progress
that.
for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm looking forward to like the leachate. Like I want to plant stuff around the compost area so they grow nice and beautiful
Oh
flowers,
yeah.
like vine flowers to even cover up the compost area. But yeah, I'm working on like a front for it because I don't currently have a keep the compost from toppling out. So that's one of the
Hmm.
projects for this month. And and yeah, I want to do more of that bay situation. So I do want to put like a middle barrier so I can do the new and plop it to the
Hmm.
processing and have another space for the finish, I guess, at some point.
I can't wait to see you do that because you have so much like land and property. I know you say you don't garden on all of it, but you have so much available to you. And I mean, we work with what we have, but man, what I wouldn't give to have, a little bit more space. So Robin, do you have like a lot? You have like acres and acres?
No, I'm in suburban Northwest Chicago, and it's somewhere between a third and a half acre. But I'm kind of
Mm-hmm.
lucky. I'm on a cul-de-sac, so it's all backyard. So
Mm-hmm.
it looks like a lot. But
See,
I'm retired and I just only have so much energy. So it can only get so big.
you can, yeah. I wish if my house was pushed more to the front, because there's space in the front. If the house would have been built a little bit more to the front, then I would have, more space in the backyard. Maybe to put one of those kind of three bin compost things. But I'm able to grow a lot. Most of my, I probably didn't mention that on this live stream, but the majority of my garden is in containers, raised beds, 5-gallon buckets. 15-gallon planters, because our soil is clay. It is like a billion. Okay, maybe it's not a billion% clay, but um, it is heavy clay. When I first got here, I did plant in the ground and I had success, but I just figured overall it was better for me to do containers. So 5-gallon buckets, 15-gallon plant pots. I have some grow bags, just whatever container, that's what I'm doing. And it works well for me.
So I was just thinking about your climate, Healy, and are you able to get the compost to break down as fast as like Joy and I can? Because you've got your water's precious.
The water
That's
is
part of
precious.
the compost, yeah.
I think that's one reason why I just kind of do the cold compost. I just put it there and leave it. But because our county has, um, compost for us, like I said, you can get it for free. Is either 3 or 4 times a year. You just have to have your containers and have your shovel. And I mean, they have metric tons, piles of this stuff. So, and I think their composting process is about 12 weeks. But they have, they can do the water, the heat, they, manage everything. So I don't really I don't really worry about my compost pile, breaking down in any certain amount of time, because when I go to the landfill, I get like at least 3 trash cans full,
Mhm.
and so I'll have more, like I have more than I need. The next time I'm not even going because I I have too much. But um you're right. You have to have water. You need water, you need air. And you need that heat. We have the heat, we have the air, but the water, mm, I think even in the most ideal conditions, it would take longer.
Yeah. And the active turning, that
Yeah.
really makes
Hmm.
a difference.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's one thing we lost in this particular part of New York that I'm in is they used to have green waste collection as like you
Mhm.
have, and over the years, city folks coming up, they don't want to do that anymore. So we've kind of lost all that, and it's a shame. And yeah, we still got the people who don't do it anyway. But that's one thing I'd really like to push for. Like we're having a battle right now with our county legislators, the agricultural um, not society group, and
Hmm.
they're like pushing out the farmers in this area. So they're fighting back. So if they win, hopefully, then I really want to get into that situation and push for the green waste collection again because I want it. I want compost, even if I have to sit.
Hmm. It was, well, being from Louisiana, as far as I knew, like before I left home and stuff or whatever, we didn't have like an active compost, like program,
Facility. Mm-hmm.
in our area. And then, but different places that I have lived, even if it wasn't, like the most robust, most other places I found, they did have at least something, some kind of, compost something. And then, I get here to Southern California and it's all, reuse, recycle, repurpose. I can't remember what the other R is because it's four of them, but it's all about, composting. And there, let me see, how can I say this? Um, it's almost like they really want you to grow everything that you need is like either provided or supported for you to do it,
Nice.
but like not the water though. So, not the,
But not the
not
water.
the, not that one thing, not that that's important, not the what, but the recycle, repurpose, reuse, conserve, have your own, little garden, flowers. There, we are real big here on, native gardening and planting the milkweed and stuff for the butterflies and planting this, for this bird and this for this and that for that. You do all of that. We want you to do all of that, but not with water though.
Gotta take your
Not
own
with
sweat and
water.
tears and use those. As your
I know, yeah, yeah. Do that. Do that. It's nice out here though. I mean, the sun tax is real though. The sun tax is real. The weather, I mean, it is perfect though. I can't argue with the weather.
right.
But I still want to go back home. I want to go back to the south. I do. I know it's 1,000,000,000% humidity and
Yeah.
like 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah. Some more
But I
bucks.
miss, yeah, I do. I miss home. I do.
Aw. Well, I'm gonna say we have to cover still like once your plants start growing, you gotta protect them either from too much
Hmm.
sun. Some people too much bugs, too much rain even. Like I gotta do insect netting. I gotta do dog
Hmm.
fencing.
Oh yeah.
I don't even know. You gotta do your marigold trenches. It's like all these things. Oh, if you're making beds and if you have like bulbs or doors, you gotta line those things with some kind of wire also. And I've forgotten that and had to redo stuff all the time.
Hmm. So do you get like the moles and voles
And the
and
bowls, yep.
ground
Hmm.
ground what is it? Ground
Ground
squirrels or
mice, ground
ground
rats, ground yeah.
yeah, yeah.
All those.
I got and I'm not sure if I did a YouTube short on it. So just a few days ago, we caught another opossum in a trap.
Hmm.
I think it was the first one for this year, I believe. And there was nothing even in the trap. Like there was no bait. There was nothing in the
Oh,
trap.
that's what you meant.
Because I
I'm like,
think
what are
the
you talking
last
about?
time, yeah, the last time we caught one was probably, I don't know, like October, November. So, it had been a while. So the trap is just sitting out there in the yard. And
Yeah.
I'm doing a YouTube short, right? Just, yeah, and this is, oh yeah, and here's a quick update on this. And I walk all the way to the back by my compost bin. And it's not until I come all the way to the front because the trap is right where the elephant garlic is. And y'all almost jumped out my skin. So of course I redid that short. Like I redid
Yeah.
I redid that one. But yeah, so opossums and skunks.
Mm.
That's what we and they're digging for grubs.
Yeah,
But that's
exactly.
yeah,
They don't hurt your plant
that's what
directly.
we
They hurt it indirectly.
hmm
$375 skunk in my yard.
what?
Aw.
I had neighbors that were getting sprayed by the skunk, and we finally figured out he was living under my shed.
Oh,
So $375 later to get this skunk
uh,
removed from my property.
Mm-hmm.
So my neighbor's
aw.
dogs don't get sprayed. He wasn't doing any harm here. And he was, he would root around in the yard and you'd see the little holes where he was.
Mm-hmm.
But, they stay undercover during the day when you're out there.
They do,
But
yeah.
we have squirrels and rabbits, which I'm sure you have both as well,
Yes.
Joy, right? Especially
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
on your wooded
definitely.
property. I thankfully don't have voles. So that's something.
So what do you do for the rabbits and like how do you protect your garden?
Well, I have raised beds, and I had to put chicken wire around
Yeah.
my raised beds
Mm-hmm.
last year. Hopefully, these new birdies beds won't need it. And then, it's their buffet. That's for the rabbits. For the squirrels, you just have to deal with their buffet favorites. So tomatoes, I grow
Yeah.
a lot of tomatoes. These net bags.
Yeah.
All of my tomatoes get netted, um, or caged in. And then, like, I completely cage zucchini because any kind of summer squash, they just will go for, and then, of course, they'll take one bite out of every squash
Yep.
instead of just eat one and it's all good.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that's pretty much, you just have to learn what they like. I think the only
Mm-hmm.
thing that, once I conquer these nematodes, which I think I can, uh, It's the cucumber beetles. I
Mhm.
haven't got something that really works well on them. The neem oil and Dr. Bronner's Castile soap solution,
Mm-hmm.
it helps, but it doesn't. I mean, they take out the plant fast once they get hold. They took out my whole melon bed last year, so I had zero melons. At least I got the cucumbers that I needed to can and stuff before they really hit. The squash bugs are okay. You know, you go out there with your duct tape and you look under the leaf and you find their little pretty little eggs and you get the duct tape on there and get that off of there. And then the neem oil with the Dr. Bronner's works too. But those cucumber beetles, man, they're a toughie. Does anybody in the chat have any success conquering cucumber beetles? Do share.
There's just too many. The one, whatever beetle it is, it's the little no, they're not. They look like little tiny slugs. The baby, I don't know, they're maggots, but they look like slugs. They're black and they're just and they're on every leaf. Like they really like the asparagus leaves for some reason.
Oh,
But they're on
wow.
my tomatoes. They were all over that. I mean, they pick and choose, but they pretty much like everything. But oh God, they're so disgusting. It just gives me
Mm-hmm.
the creeps. Anytime like bugs are congregating, like one at a time, I'm okay with it. In a group, it's just like ah,
Yeah.
I think the
burn them
hornworms,
down.
the the tomato hornworms are the ones that take me back, when I,
One at a time.
oh, yeah.
I could not deal with
First of all, they're like 3 inches long and they look nasty and they
They
will
were,
they will bite you a little bit if you whatever.
oh,
So you got to go find something to
yeah, tongs.
protect yourself
oh,
before you
wow.
pick them off.
They always remind me of the caterpillar on Alice in Wonderland.
Yes, they
That's every time I see, and so I'm half expecting that it might start talking to me, or something. I don't like those, but the thing that gets me the most every year is the fig beetle.
Oh,
Those are like the multicolored, beautiful, fluorescent, they're kind of large. The fig beetles is what they call them, green fig beetles. But they're green, they're not just green, they're every color. They look like the wrap on my car.
Oh
And
yeah,
they fly very clumsily. They're very loud. Their wings, they sound very loud and they almost sound like hummingbirds. And I have a lot of hummingbirds in my yard. Um, but they come and it's almost time. So they used to come June, July, all so basically, well, it used to be 4th of July to Labor Day.
yeah. Mhm.
That's and then they started coming in June. And I think last year I saw the first one in May. Those things, and I know people say they can't harm you, they don't have teeth, they just eat, soft fruits and all that kind of stuff, just blah 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 blah. I can't, y'all. I can't. It's like face your fears. That's, I can't with those things. And every time when I sift my soil and I see the grubs, I put them out in, like the rectangle tray that you could like grow strawberries in.
mhm.
I put them in that and put them on like a patio table or on the ground somewhere where the birds can come and eat them. And so I'll collect all of the grubs, put the tray out, and then like the next day it'll be empty because the
Mhm.
birds ate them. Yes,
That's
I know I will never get them all, but I almost have to have somebody go outside with me like during that time period because they always seem to come outside. I will look out my window and for 15, 20 minutes, I won't see any. And then as soon as I go outside, y'all, and I try, I'm like, it's just a bug. There's no need to be scared. It can't kill you. It can't hurt you. It's not, I have a tennis racket, and matter of fact, it's right out there because I know the time is getting close. So it's right out there. But the fig beetles, I can't. But y'all, speaking of the time getting close, I am gonna have to love you and leave you, as my mom says. I have another appointment to get to. This was a fabulous live joy as usual, and thank you, Robin, so much. It was so nice meeting you.
Very nice to meet
Um,
you too, Haley.
and I'm hoping that the next time I speak with you all, I have at least sown one seed. I'm going to get the perlite today. I have everything I need. I have to get those seeds sown. And the last thing I'll say is that instead of succession sowing, it's just gonna be everything all at once, everywhere. And I'm gonna just have to deal with it. So we'll see.
Good luck.
All right, we'll see you
Thank you so
later.
much.
All right, Robin. What else did we need to cover? We got anything? Got anything?
No, the only thing that in preparation for the season that I'd add is make sure you get out and get the products that you like now so that you're not sad that you can't find them when you need them.
Right.
Like I went and got my CalMag. Once I started using this Fox Farm product, I have never had blossom end rot since.
Oh, okay.
So, and this lasts me 2, maybe 3 years. But I need it. And I don't want it not to be there when I,
Right.
go.
And how often do you use that with the other, fertilization you might be putting in, or do you use that exclusively?
Probably every other time I just put, barely a cap full in
Mhm.
2 gallons.
Oh, do you
And
mix them all together? Like use that and like something nitrogen or complete? You mix them all together?
Yep, Al and I call it lotions and potions day. We usually do it every Sunday, but
Yeah.
sometimes we go 10 days instead of 7 if we didn't get to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do all my little liquid concoctions and mix, whatever the plants that I'm fertilizing need. But that's for my tomatoes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Like, I know brassicas they don't need like the acidic soil. So I try to remember, don't put too much of, let's say, peat moss or something on that bed that you're going to be growing your brassicas in. But yeah, if you got rainy days like me, cold still, preparing your space is the best thing you can do, really, if you can't plant anything yet. And then for those who already are planting, go at it. Have fun. I hate you.
Yeah.
I want to be you. Oh my goodness.
I'm pretty lucky that way because we do the work in the fall. We put down the compost in the fall. I'm one of those old-fashioned people who does it in the fall. And so
Yeah.
spring is less manic that way.
Right. I feel
And
like
then you
I me too, but I just get so like, I'm too tired. I don't want to. It really
then
gets.
if I don't get stuff out, then I'm just like way guilty taking it out in the spring. Well, maybe there's somebody living in the hollow stems.
Yeah.
So then I'll clean it up, but then I'll leave it in a pile, off in the yard somewhere so that they can still live. But anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, I did find one good thing. I put it out for show and tell. This is by Epic Gardening, but I
Yeah.
bought it at the nursery and they're tiny. See how tiny they are? That's 16 cells.
Nice.
This is great for saving space inside, especially for the flowers that don't grow too fast.
Right.
So if you want a new option for that, the only thing is when you prick them out, they do have this hole, but your finger doesn't, fit
It
all
doesn't
the.
quite fit.
So I mean, I had to use like a Sharpie.
Bendy.
The Sharpie fits to push them out.
Yeah.
That would be my only complaint, but dang, I haven't found anything better to save space than this so far. So I wanted to share that.
Oh, good. And check out your local Craigslist, Facebook. People, sadly, are getting rid of all the gardening stuff. I see it constantly right now. But that's a good chance to grab those deals. Like, there was some stinking raised beds I wanted, but obviously I missed out on that. But they were like $40 a pop, 3 years old. I'm like, oh man, I want those so bad.
You know, at the Goodwill a couple of years back, I got this pot. It was a big one,
Yeah.
terracotta with a saucer. Now the saucer was stuck inside it, but I'm like, I'll get that home and I can work that saucer out for $12.
Wow.
You know how much that would have cost? It would
Hundreds
have
of
probably,
dollars.
it would have been a big expense.
Yeah, yeah.
But I paid.
A lot of lights, a lot of grow tents I'm seeing online. So check
Really?
those
Grow tents too?
hmm
Wow.
People are really giving up their hobbies,
Wow.
unfortunately. But their loss is your gain, so take advantage. Oh, well, okay. I know there's a lot of stuff to go through, but I think that
Well,
wraps it
so we
up
could
now.
keep talking for a while, but you know,
There's always never enough time to talk about gardening.
amen. We're among our people.
Exactly. But alas, there's other chores to be done. Life has to happen out there. All right, I'm rambling. Thank you, Robin, and thanks to Healy who was with us. Yeah, we'll try to do this again in May. I'm probably dropping off on my lives because it's getting busier and busier with the garden and everything. But May, things will be popping up for sure. May 1st.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get back again together. Well, you enjoy the rest of your week. I heard you were traveling, so safe travels.
Thank you.
Hopefully plants make it safely also.
If the people in the chat don't know, we go between here and Wisconsin, and all of my seedlings go with me. So
Well traveled they are.
they are well traveled. All right.
All right. We'll see you all again soon. Talk to you again.
Bye. Thank you,
Bye.
Joy. Always lovely.